Jesse Minter saying no thanks because he's going to Baltimore. And I thought it was interesting. I think it's really interesting the amount of people that are just buying the Browns' framing of this, which is this was mutual.
Well, yeah, they can't buy that. That's just silly. But
that's half of social media right now, just so we're clear.
Well, but I don't think that we should be crushed by this either, though. And so, there's a distinction here. If it's Udinski or if it's someone like Scheelhaase that I really do feel like they were genuinely in on, maybe I'd feel a little bit differently. But it's not like I ever got the vibe they were truly in with Jesse Minter anyway.
I think you're right. And I think that shows that this is starting to unveil itself as a bit of a flawed search. The Browns decided they wanted to go out there and find some outside-the-box candidates, and people have bought it. And God bless you. I do not have a problem with Browns fans wanting to be excited about their head coach. I do think that I do think we're just kind of ignoring the red flags here. And it's not even that, even with the old bones, even with Jim Schwartz and Todd Monken.
Is that their names now, the old bones?
That is, yeah. 60 is the new 40, many people have said, not in the NFL.
I think so.
Yeah, but unfortunately in the NFL, 60 is the new 80
I was
in the
say,
NFL.
You're 40 now, so what are you?
152.
Is 40 the new 20, or are we going the other direction?
With the way I live, about 152. I just think, quite frankly, you have to address what absolute red flags there are for all of these candidates, and when you get there, okay, so to me it's less. I think maybe the reason why I'm concerned is I don't trust the Browns to do the right thing from here. And what I mean by that is Sean McDermott's obviously better than any of the four finalist coaches that haven't turned down this job yet.
Right.
It's obvious.
It's not even a question.
It's inarguable.
Correct.
Right?
Yes.
I don't know if they have an interview with him yet.
No, we don't know.
Okay, yeah. So I don't know that they're going to pursue him the way they should. Even then, even if Sean McDermott isn't available in this cycle, widen your gaze. Seriously. Talk to David Shaw. Talk to Thomas Brown. You're going to hate this name. Talk to Doug Peterson. He is a former Super Bowl winning coach that's worked in a scheme or in a system like the Browns front office runs in Philadelphia. I know that because that's where Andrew Berry came back from when he came to Cleveland the second time.
I said something about a week ago or so, and I just feel like it's becoming more and more prescient as we keep going on with this whole entire thing. I think that Andrew Berry likes to take big swings, and that's evidenced by the Deshaun Watson trade. I think that he lives with the no risky, no bisky mentality. That's who he is. And I think he looks at this, and I think he says to himself, the only way out truly for himself is if he turns someone into the next Sean McVay.
I'm just so confused why Grant Udinski, who's a no-name, is a big swing. I think that, you're right. I believe what you're saying. But how did he create Grant Udinski into this big swing?
Well, it's a big swing because it's got a chance to really, really collapse if it doesn't work. The same thing with Deshaun. That's what makes it a big swing. But it's also got a chance to, if it works out, and if he really has identified the next Sean McVay, then you have a chance to not have to worry about your head coaching spot for 15 years.
Yeah, you also have a chance that it could just be Kevin Stefanski.
It's a lot of things are on the table with this, obviously.
I'm not arguing with you, by the way. I'm just
I'm
arguing his logic.
Yeah, and I listen. This isn't what I think or anything either. This is just I'm trying to get in his brain. I'm trying to figure it all out. And I feel like if he's got one chance to make this higher, and I think he's got one chance to make this higher, I think he's going pretty boom or bust here. And I think he's taking a very patient approach, all things considered, if he goes young. But I think he looks at what happened with the defense last year, sees how great they were, and said to ourselves, why did we suck? Why were we not good? It's because we didn't have an offense.
Is it patient, or does he just not have options? And I'm asking that. I don't know that.
I meant longer term patience with this. Like if you hire Udinski, for instance, and it falls completely flat on its face in year one, it's not going to be looked at the way it'll be looked at with Jim Tomsula. It'll be looked at, well, all right, we got to do more, and then 2027 we're attacking this, but this is a longer play. And sometimes GMs, how they operate, and this is why they draft quarterbacks sometimes that they don't really want to draft, is they think to themselves, what gets me a job for 3, 4, 5 years down the road? If you go with Grant Udinski, you're not fired after 1 year.
I think, all right, so I think you're right, and I want to keep pointing out that I think you're using logic that they're using. That logic that they're using is just frustrating me a little bit. Here's the thing. If a guy is, I don't believe that you could ever be, you're too ripe to be a head coach, meaning my problems with Schwartz and Todd Monken are I don't think either of them would make a good head coach, but at least they have an overwhelming amount of football experience that I can feel comfortable with.
We know they can at least put together a staff, and they'll look competent doing it.
Well, again, but you
would think.
There's so much football knowledge between Schwartz and Monken that I can at least go, oh, I kind of get this. I I think there's a reason why Schwartz has never gotten a second head coaching job. I think there's a reason Todd Monken's never gotten a head coaching job. But I can at least sell old bones. You've been around 30 damn years in football and 40 years in football, and that impresses me. The thing with Udinski or Scheelhaase, there's an underlying part of the logic that I struggle with too, which is, like when Pittsburgh hires a Bill Cowher or Mike Tomlin, well, they're not quite ready yet, but we're going to help mature them into a head coach. Why do the Browns think that they can mature anyone to a head coach?
Yeah, no, they have no experience of doing that.
Well, no, I mean, they don't have, they like every opportunity that they've taken to.
Unless, do they look at Stefanski as them maturing Stefanski into a head coach? Is that how they perceive that?
But Kevin at least had spent 12 years in the NFL, 12, 13 years in the NFL. He had been a play caller in Minnesota. He had been
for 1 year, yeah.
But like he had at least had some hallmarks where you're like, all right, he's much more closer to Jesse Minter. To me, this would have been like hiring Kevin Stefanski in 2014. Like that's what you're doing right now instead of 2020. Because that's about as much experience as Grant Udinski has in the NFL. Mm-hmm. I know Nate Scheelhaase has a significant amount of experience in college. He's got 2 years as like the fourth or fifth guy on the LA staff. And I'm saying this not because I wouldn't be excited if these guys came here, or I wouldn't be intrigued. Like at some point you get on board because there's no real reason that I can't.
I mean, how could you not be a little intrigued?
In summer I couldn't be like. In summer I can't be like, yeah, they should have hired McDaniel, because it's not going to matter. But the truth is, there are glaring issues here, and I understand why the Steelers think, "Hey, I can turn Bill Cowher into head coach. I can shave 2 years off his development."
Yeah.
With the Browns, every opportunity to take an awkward situation or an immature person, player, whatever, and turn them into something better, they have balked at. We know the Baker Mayfield situation and how they just got fed up with how immature Baker was and walked away. The Deshaun Watson situation. There are other organizations that would have handled that 10 times better than this organization too.
Well, I mean, and that's why I think the one thing that the Steelers can offer up some of these guys is that they have the patience to see it all through as well. But like it's the Deshaun part of this is interesting because they gave Deshaun 3 years. They gave him a lot of time to try to figure that out. But neither here nor there. I just don't know that it's the right setup in general for any of these young coaches. And that's going to be the problem that you're going to run into. But you can't close, or at least if I'm Andrew Berry, I can't close the door on it because I think I'm in a spot where because of Haslam, it's never going to work out. Because if that's the case, you got to call it a day anyway. You're never going to work out here.
I am surprised, and I've started to hear this a little bit more. I'm surprised at the lack of criticism the Browns are getting for this search. I really am.
I think people are waiting for the final tally.
Yeah, I think that's I think that's when the water will be boiling a little bit too much. Like I think it's like interesting. I feel like I was patient until this week. I was the one saying, "Hey, we don't know yet. Let's see what else there is." Well, now as it's played out, like their preferred candidates seem to be two guys, and I want to say this as clearly as I can. They have no business being NFL head coaches right now. Let that one set for a minute. Mm-hmm. Because not enough people, they're they could be McVay. Oh, they could.
I mean, that's what their philosophy is right now.
No business being NFL head coaches. I don't care who else is interviewing them. I don't care who likes them. But by the way, guys, it's really hard to find anyone saying negative things about coaches that they have no idea.
Right.
Everyone I've talked to, off air, on air, they say the same three things about Scheelhaase and Udinski. And as of right now, the Browns' only way to save face in this is to hire a defensive head coach who has never come close to sniffing a second opportunity as a head coach in the NFL.
Well, no, McDermott is saving face.
Okay, what I mean is of the final four that we know. If they stick to their guns and they get one or two candidates to satisfy the Rooney Rule, right? If they do that and they don't get McDermott on the line, at least for an interview, if they don't talk to David Shaw or Thomas Brown, any of the guys out there, Doug Peterson's, any of the names, Mike McCarthy, any of those names, and they just go, well, we've been patient and this is where the search led us, come back to the idea. Grant Udinski and Nate Scheelhaase, from what they've done in the NFL, have no business of being NFL head coaches.
Yeah, and the problem I have is that they haven't earned any benefit of the doubt here.
Yes.
And I have a really hard time because there's certain points where I want to stick up for Andrew Berry in this, and especially in this discussion in particular, because I do subscribe to the idea that young offensive coordinator is not a bad thing. But the lack of experience is getting to me, obviously. We don't know what these guys are going to be, but when it comes to Andrew Berry, he's not as if I've watched him for 6 years and been like, well, he constantly makes the right move.
Yeah.
He constantly gets this right. Like, if I had something to fall back on where I had belief in Andrew Berry in the process of this, I'd feel so much better about this. Like, oh, he must be seeing something I don't see. He must use those red laser eyes. He must have something I don't see because he's constantly one step ahead of the curve. He's the seer among seers, the prognosticator's prognosticator, but he's not. He never has been. It seems like every move he makes falls flat on its face. So why would this one be any different?
And can I ask you, how does a guy, and I'm going to continue to try and say what Grant Udinski actually does as opposed to what his title says he does, how does a guy who is a glorified quarterbacks coach for 1 year in the NFL and Grant Udinski. That's what he does. He works with Trevor Lawrence and Liam Cohen, structures the offense on it, structures a game plan, and he calls the plays. So he's a glorified quarterbacks coach. How does he become the overwhelming favorite off a phone call, off a Zoom? That's without even he hasn't gotten his second interview yet. That was another thing we haven't talked about.
Yeah, there was like a 3-hour Zoom, and that's all it was. That must have been a pretty impressive Zoom.
If Grant had been the coach on Monday, I'd understand this a little bit more.
Everything's impressive when you already want to hire somebody.
Well, I think that's
if you've already made up your mind,
yes.
Everything you say then becomes, wow, what a whiz. This guy really is great. If you're searching for that, you're going to find that.
This week has started to become confirmation bias. And meaning that's what I think the Browns are doing here. And that is not how you run a good search. It's not how you again, it goes back to everyone could talk about removing emotion and we're gonna get all the noble, the verticals that we're gonna get on these guys. This organization is so good with Andrew Berry and Cat Hickman and Glenn Cook at talking the talk. The problem is that walking the walk is always the problem, and I can see this happening from a mile away. Oh, well, he had all the things we were looking for because you were looking for them.
And it's just obvious to see what green checks they were trying to get to, right? It's like, all right, so first off, we picked someone from Sean McVay's tree that gets him coffee. And next up, we're going to go to the other hot shots that we like. That's Kevin O'Connell in Minnesota, where Udinski was before he was in Jacksonville. And then we go to Liam Cohen, who's the new hot thing as well. And we get the two guys collectively, they've tapped into the three names everybody loves at the current moment.